Hi, this is Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson.
What's up, everybody? I'm Matt Leinart, 2004 Heisman Trophy winner.
Hey, I'm Zane Gonzalez.
Hi, I'm Matt Barry from ESPN. You're getting ready to watch one of the best college football podcasts ever. It's the Harris Highlight Show.
You're watching the Harris Highlight Show.
And you're watching the Harris Highlight Show.
And you're listening to the Harris Highlight Show. Enjoy it.
Na 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 na.
Coming to you live from beautiful Monrovia, California. This is the Harris Highlight Show. We got a jam-packed episode for you guys today. I'm your host, Blake Harris. Joining me this week is our college football analyst, Josh Schaefer, our college football expert, Lyle Goldstein, our executive producer, Brady Klain, and as again, I'm your host for the evening, Blake Harris. Boys, it was it seems like it was a few days ago we did trivia. It didn't seem like that was 7 days ago, but it's been a week since we've done a show. How's everyone doing on this beautiful Tuesday evening?
Absolutely exemplary, Blake. Thank you so much for asking.
Josh is what we call living his best life.
Oh, you guys know it. You know, I've got all these. I just took out a notebook because I was looking for something, but halfway through forgot what I was going to look for. Man, we're thriving. We're thriving.
And right before your birthday, too, right?
Yes. I was looking through these notebooks right before my birthday.
Yeah.
How old are you turning, Josh?
16.
Oh, you can drive now, unlike Blake.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get my permit.
Josh is the baby of the group. You're turning what? 19?
16. Actually,
16.
Turning 22. I'm still the youngest, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a shame.
Because I think
by
Lyle
almost a year for Lyle.
Yeah,
oh, no.
I think like 11 months or something like that. So he's the baby. But how's Lyle? Your Mariners, I guess, decided to win a game the other day. I don't think they got the memo on what. I already forgot what the hashtag is. But for those baseball fans out there, would you like to share what the hashtag for the 2020 M season is?
Oh, I mean, it's my own motto, of course.
Oh,
I call it rock bottom for Rocker, for Kumar Rocker, the right-hander out of Vanderbilt, who's probably going to go number 1 overall in 2021. But yeah, you know what? You lose 3 of 4 every time you play a series. You're probably in decent shape for that pick. Although the Mariners only hit 2 Astros this series this weekend. I'd love to see in 2 games if the Los Angeles Dodgers can double that. What do we think?
Oh, I'm down. I made the over-under. I only have it at 1.5 just because I think the Dodgers are going to be professional. But if Walker Buehler doesn't come out tonight and throw 99 heat, as Josh said, at the back or shoulder of like Yuli Gurriel or Carlos Correa, there's a problem. But if I was the Dodgers, I was talking about this, I think when we did Inside Pitch, I would take whoever the biggest flamethrower is in the minor league system. I would promote him for this series and this series only and say, listen, pal, this is your time to shine. Go out there and just beam them. We're going to pay.
All right, kid, you can throw 103, but you're only able to throw a fastball. You're going to make your major league debut today against the Houston Astros. Let's see what you got. Right. You have no control either. Just put Charlie Sheen in there. I mean, we've seen what he can do on the pitch mound. So.
Wild thing, baby.
Like
I said, if Buehler hits somebody in the first inning, I'll buy his jersey tonight. Tonight, I will spend $35 on his jersey.
Okay, but what if he hits? What if he hits like Maldonado, like the catcher? I feel like he's got to hit one of the big 4. He's got to hit one of the big guys.
He's got to hit one of the big guys, or Josh Reddick. If he can get Josh Reddick, that's exactly what I'm coming for. Josh Reddick. If I had to list them again, sorry for those of you that don't follow baseball, but we're all baseball fans, and this is a huge deal because
especially Brady.
The Dodgers got cheated
big time.
If I'm ranking them, I think number 1's got to be Correa. Number 2's got to be Altuve. Number 3, I'll go with Reddick just because Dodger fans hate him. Number 4, I'll go with Bregman. But if any 4 of those guys are hit, I'll be fantastic. If the Dodgers wasted again on Maldonado, or I think like Kyle Tucker, I think he's in the lineup tonight, I'm going to be disappointed because I want them to hurt. I want Walker Buehler to throw 100 right at the shoulder, right at that. Before we keep going, guys, just want to give a quick shout out to our main man, Conman752, who we're going to have on a future episode sometime in the coming weeks. I think once the college football season starts, we're going to be able to get him on and talk some college football. He gave us $20 so Josh can go buy his first 12-pack.
What is a 12-pack?
Josh is 16 years old, Blake.
Josh, you can buy yourself a 12-pack, so any kind you want, you can go buy it.
Dr. Pepper, please.
Hey, you can get a lot of Dr. Pepper for $20.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just turning 16, and I've spent the last 4 years in college.
Hey, Michael, we do too.
Hey, Michael, be the one that does it. Come on.
Yeah, Michael, if you do it, not only do you get to be a guest on the show, you get to become a member of the show.
You also get
outlined on Patreon.
You also get to host an episode.
There you go.
Maybe not.
Before we get to this week's show, guys, a lot of ground to cover because we have a jam-packed show, as you saw in the intro. First and foremost, make sure to go follow the show on Twitter at the HH Show _ the link or the handle thing is over there. I'm like confused on how it works over here. I'm like split screen or reverse, however it is. So go and follow us on Twitter. It's a lot of fun. If you have a Twitter account, if you don't have a Twitter account, well, that's okay. We'll forgive you guys. You guys can also listen to our show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Link to those is in the description, or if you go over to Spotify, you can go over to Apple Podcasts, search the Harris Highlight Show. You guys can listen. We've been getting a lot more people that have been tuning in because it's tough for a lot of people to tune in live. So a lot of people the day after, the week after, they've been tuning in. So again, you can go over there, listen to the show. As you saw from Con Man, our main guy, you guys can support the show by donating to the super chat. It doesn't have to be $20 for a pack of beer for Josh, but we do appreciate that. It can be as little as $1, maybe a couple bucks, something like that, because we are in StreamYard. That costs money per month. It costs money to keep it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and as we've said in previous shows, it's tough finding a job out there, so it helps us keep and do this show on a week-to-week basis. So again, $1, it goes a long way, and you guys can also become members on Patreon if you guys want to donate, on a monthly basis over there at Patreon. I mean, there are a lot of just awesome benefits. I actually have it right here for you guys. For as little as $1 a month, you guys will be entered in a monthly contest to get a one-on-one Zoom call with the four of us to talk college football, pretty much to talk anything and everything that you guys would like. I'm going to throw another thing on right here. For $3 a month, you guys can get a private weekly Q&A session with us where you can ask us questions. We'll answer them. You guys can choose a topic for a future show we can discuss. It could be a segment. It could be like a trivia show. It could be a game show, anything fun like that. And for $5 a month, we've had a few members donate. You guys can join a live stream during the show to ask us a question, or as I mentioned, talk about a certain topic. If you have a team you like, a player you like, you guys can join the show, talk with us. And there's also an entry into Harris Highlights merch that you can win as well. A lot of awesome stuff for as little as $1 a month, $3 a month. We want to give a quick shout out though to Joshua Griffin and Stefan Weiss, who became Patreon members this week. These two guys are awesome. They're the absolute best. We will be staying in touch via Patreon, guys. I'll be DMing you guys when we can get you on future shows and when you guys can unlock all your exclusive benefits. So again, if that sounds awesome to you guys, you get these awesome perks and benefits, and you guys get to help the show out as well.
Did Blake just go 2 for 2 on name pronunciations there?
Did.
I thought it was Stefan, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I could go either
Where's
way
the
with
pronunciation guide?
We need one of those. Yeah.
That's true.
Also, Blake, wouldn't it be a 4-on-1 Zoom call instead of a 1-on-1 if it's all of us?
Well said, Brady. Well said.
Or maybe he gets to pick who he wants to.
He gets to pick the one.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we have a fun exclusive interview later in the show. Just waiting to hear back from his DM. I'm not going to spoil it right now. But we're waiting to hear back from him. So, do we want to spoil it, Brady? Should we spoil it?
You should promote it. It's not spoiling it.
It's not a spoiler.
I promoted it in the chat earlier on Twitter. But for those of you that didn't see that, we are going to be talking with Michael Pierce, current nose tackle for the Minnesota Vikings, who announced today he's going to opt out for the 2020 season. And this is pretty much going to be his first interview talking about why he decided to opt out, the decisions that went into it. We're going to be talking about, his playing days at Stanford and what it means for a small school like that, and a bunch of other fun questions that we've, rallied together to ask him. And if you guys have any questions you'd like to ask him whenever we get him on, make sure to ask us in the live chat. That way we can ask him when the interview's over. So again, waiting to hear back from him. He just saw the message, so maybe he's actually going to be joining us any second now. We'll have to wait and see. But guys, Michael Pierce, he's a guy that we've had on the show before. I think we talked to him, I want to say a year and a half ago. Maybe I can't remember if it was during the regular season. It wasn't this past NFL season that we had him. It was the year prior because we were talking to Lamar Jackson, I think, right? Or we were talking about Lamar Jackson after he became the starting quarterback. And he actually had a fun story. I think I'll have one of you guys share the fun story he shared with us about Lamar Jackson's first career pass in the NFL.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, so Michael Pierce, I guess now we can call him recurring guest and friend of the show, of course. But if I remember right, Lamar threw a pass just out of bounds. He got rushed and he threw it away. And Michael Pierce is like standing on the sidelines and he like leaps up and makes the grab. And he's like standing there like, look at me, I just made a grab. And when we talked to him about it, he thought it was like the greatest thing.
We'll have to go on NFL Game Pass and see if we can find the video from that from a few years ago and show that in future shows.
When we did the interview and I posted the clip to Twitter, I found the clip.
Oh, you did?
And when he talked about it, I put it over. So I mean, that tweet is deep in the archives. That is deep in the archives. But guys, we're gonna add him right now. Joining us live right now on the show. I don't know, Brady, you trying to do it right now? There we go. Joining us live on the Harris Highlight Show, remote edition. We're not in the studio anymore, so we can't take a phone call. Is Minnesota Viking nose tackle Michael Pierce. Michael, friend of the show, thank you so much for joining us tonight. How you doing over there, my man?
I'm doing all right, man. It's been a long day. It's been a real long day, but I had a decision to make, and I made it, and just kind of got to get a plan to move forward and get myself ready for next season.
Yeah, so we kind of prepared it before you joined, pretty much saying that just today you decided to opt out for the 2020 NFL season. So I guess first and foremost, just take us through the decision-making process going into that, because I'm sure that had to be probably the most difficult decision you've ever made in your life. Take us through the decision, who you talked to, and ultimately what made you decide today that this was the right decision for you to make.
All right, so we got some time, I hope, because this is a long time. All right, so just my personal background. I'm 27 years old. Grew up with asthma, so even as a kid, I had a few trips to the hospital. Obviously, I carry a daily inhaler around. I have a portable nebulizer that has an albuterol prescription attached to it. So, me dealing with asthma is nothing new. Caught pneumonia 3 years ago after a game in Green Bay. And I noticed something was wrong and my lungs didn't recover, even though I was, coming out of it. So that was a long process for me, just having to deal with, not being able to breathe properly for over a month after I had got all the fluid out of my lungs was really, really tough, man. So now, me knowing that I went through that and fought through that and how long of a process that took just to get me back functioning properly, kind of, obviously made me more cautious about COVID in general. So obviously when we all learned about this in March, I signed with the Vikings, couldn't come up there because of COVID. So yeah, man, now for me, a day-to-day life, I haven't been in a restaurant, sat in a restaurant since February. Just got my hair cut to go to camp. So I was looking like a caveman for the longest, man. And, obviously I had to take some sort of risk just to go to the gym, work out with like 2 or 3 guys in my group. But now, man, so with the NFL and everything that's going on, we just got the news of the opt-out option on Friday, like for sure. So, you only have 7 days to make that decision. And for me, obviously, even prior to this, before we even knew we were having a season, I was just talking to my family. My brother has asthma. My dad has severe asthma. It's even worse than mine. So just knowing my family history, knowing that, if I happen to catch corona, I'm 90% sure I'm ending up in the hospital. Obviously, people pass away from it. And some people just stay in the hospital for a really long time and hooked up to ventilators and all that kind of stuff. So I felt like I've been managing this as best as I could, but just me having to travel 8 times a year and, just being exposed to a lot of different stuff. Once I talked to, our GM, our team doctor, our our head trainer has COVID. That came out today. Him and his whole family. So just this virus being super unpredictable. Just me wanting to make sure that I know not only I'm physically healthy to work out and do all that stuff, but preserving my life was more so my goal in doing all this. So I flew up to Minnesota last night to talk to those guys, just see what they had going on and just to get a feel for what their doctors had to say. But after they reviewed my medical situation and all the things I've been through, not only in the past few years, 4 years, but I shared some thing about them with them that I've done, from childhood on up to college that they didn't know about. So no, man, they definitely understood and they felt like I was doing the right thing. So for me, it wasn't like one of those optional opt-outs, and everybody has their own reason. But for me, it was definitely a high-risk medical opt-out. So that's just how it has to go, and I gotta make do with what I can. So that's kind of basically how everything went down.
Obviously, pretty much everything got shut down in March, and we were confused about the way that sports would work for the longest time, especially sports coming up in the fall with professional and college football. How long have you kind of been debating on what you were going to do? Obviously, given that short time period to decide when it came out recently, but how long has this process actually been for you?
So at first, I honestly, how things got shut down so quickly. I mean, most of us, we're right to assume that we just wouldn't have a season. So, as things got, progressively more and more, we started getting the OTAs and that kind of thing. And I was really hopeful that, with everybody being aware of it, that the numbers would go down to where, that it might be more safe. But, that had been a conversation me, my parents had, and my agent had even then. So, once I got the contract and I signed, and, I was just, it took me forever. I think I didn't get my physical March, April, May, till May. So I hadn't left the house before that. And I got the physical done, and, I had to share with them and that I, obviously was high risk to even go in the hospital. So when they did an x-ray of my chest to make sure I didn't have any fluid on my lungs and things like that, obviously the Vikings knew that, I was dealing with some respiratory issues just in my history. So I think, it's been a topic of discussion for me, but, my dad has to stay home from work and he's a public servant. So just for our family in general, it's obviously, the best decision for us to, if possible, stay home and stay, out the way as much as possible.
You're now going into your 5th year in the NFL, and you've seen really everything now that we've had a worldwide pandemic come into play. But
Right.
really, in more recent months, we've seen the Black Lives Matter movement come into the NFL, and we've seen the commissioner and teams and players speak out on this. What are your thoughts on how the NFL has handled this and how the Vikings and some of your teammates have handled this?
Oh, man, it's awesome, man. So even though I didn't get to meet those guys in person, I'm on the social justice committee for the Vikings. So no, these guys are doing an amazing job, just bringing light to the issue, but also just having conversations with the public. So Amir Abdullah has his own YouTube channel, and he does a lot of good work. Just a lot of guys just getting out, not only loving on the public, but just bringing those issues to the forefront, and just having a conversation. So I think a lot of confusion, a lot of anger, a lot of hurt is out of confusion or a lack of knowledge. So, just bringing those issues to the forefront, not only, explaining why we feel a certain way or how an individual player feels a certain way, but, just hearing the opposite side and, just being able to interact with everyone. So I know back in the day, athletes felt like they weren't, as a regular person, I didn't feel like athletes were accessible. That's not the case these days with social media and all that stuff. So just having our voice heard, knowing that we have a platform, knowing that, we can interact with anybody we want to is I think it's good for the cause. And I think the NFL has done a great job with acknowledging it and, forwarding the agenda. And, we're just trying to obviously eradicate, police brutality and just, start to see a lot of change in our communities and our in our country for the better. So I think we all done a great job. Obviously, there's still work to do as usual, but no, man, I think we're off to a great start.
As one of the newest members of the Vikings, you said you're a part of this committee. How were you quickly accepted into that committee? Obviously, you couldn't have seen this really coming in the past. And what was the team's stance on possibly kneeling for the national anthem going forward?
Yeah, so I don't even we hadn't even gotten that far as far as the national anthem. We were more concerned if we were going to be at training camp. So that at least I hadn't heard that personally. That hadn't even been spoken on as of right now. But players speak on it. But as a team, I don't feel comfortable saying if they will or they won't. I haven't heard anything in that regard. So as far as that goes, I don't know too much about it. I guess I'm gonna be in the team meeting, so we'll have to see. Like I'll see how y'all see on the TV. So yeah, that's an issue in itself. But what was the second part of your question? I'm sorry.
I was asking how quickly you were accepted or formed that social justice committee.
Oh no, man, they let me in, man. So we talked about it as a D-line. My coach heads the group. So Andre Patterson is the head of the social justice committee. So I just had a couple of talks with him, and even before all this happened, man, I'm a man who loves charity, loves to give back to his community, regardless of race, regardless of anything. I'm a pretty open person, and I love to have conversations with any and everyone, as you can see today. So yeah, man, no, I'm with whatever is right and whatever is going to progress us as a country. So no, man, I just had a nice little talk with him, and thankfully, some of the things I've done throughout my time in the league have spread to their team, so they knew I was pretty serious about the topic and the issue at hand. And yeah, man, they let me in, and they valued my opinion, so I couldn't really ask for anything more.
Hey, Michael, with everything that's kind of gone on in the last few months with seasons being shut down and sports being up in the air, how much different has this off season been for you?
Man, it's been weird, man. Like I said, I normally train in some pretty big groups, 10 to 12 guys. Obviously when there's no basketball, I'm like a major basketball fan. So when that got shut down, I knew it was really, really, really bad. So, obviously these are billion-dollar corporations, billion-dollar businesses, and, those things thrive off TV deals, NFL more so than NBA. But either way, when product is not on the court, on the field, everybody's taking the hit, not only the players, but the owners. Economics is screwed up. So it affects everybody's lives basically the same. So it's been a strange off season. Obviously, I think we would be in the playoffs right now. Oh, yeah, we should be pulling up on the championship towards the end of this, right around now. So, no, man, it's been a strange off season. I just heard about the Marlins baseball team and those guys testing positive. I've become more of a recent baseball fan because we had, baseball in Baltimore. I'm from a small town in Mobile where we didn't really have anything. So, no, man, I'm becoming more of a sports fan, obviously, as I get exposed to stuff. I went to my first hockey game in February in Vegas for the fight with Deontay Wilder and them. We saw the Vegas Black Knights, whatever they're called. So, yeah, no, they were dope, man. It was awesome. So, no, man, it's been a weird off season for all sports, all players. I've talked to a few guys that's from Alabama who play in the NBA. They were, obviously up in the air, and then they didn't even bring all their teams back. I think 22 out of 31. So, or however many teams are in the NBA. So it's a rough time to be an athlete, but also, it's a rough time to be an American, be a global citizen at that. So, a lot of jobs have been lost. A lot of people who've been affected. Everybody's trying to get back where they can, get back to their community. Provide meals and all this different stuff. So. I just try to keep everything in perspective, man. And, because my dad is a public servant and he does, deal with people who've been directly affected, it changed my point of view. So it wasn't so much for me. Football's provided me with a lot of different things in life. So for me, it was just about giving back, obviously making sure I stay safe. But, just having the heart for the community, having the heart for our country, and all the people have been affected. So it's a tough time in our country. Obviously, if depending on who you listen to, cases are rising again, things are shutting down again. So who knows? Obviously, we all would love to see football being played. I would love to be out there right now, but it's just all up in the air, man. So we kind of just got to sit back, watch, and try to remind everybody to wear the mask and be as safe as possible.
Well, on a lighter note, now I got to ask you, who's your NBA team and who do you have winning it all?
All right. So me being from Alabama, we don't have any professional sports. So I roll with the Tide in football because they're the Tide. Basketball, I'm a Kevin Durant fan. So I tend to travel wherever Kevin Durant goes. So it was Golden State, and now I'm rolling with the Nets. Obviously, he isn't playing. So to ignore what the Lakers are doing, and those additions that they made, and I think JR went like 6 for 6, like 21 points the other night. So man, I'm a huge basketball fan. I don't really care who wins. I'm a KD fan. I was glad he won in Golden State. Previously, before that, I was a Melo fan, and I'm happy to see he's in Portland doing his thing. But I just roll with KD, man. Wherever he goes, I go. Hopefully, he gets to gets back to 100% soon.
Yeah, Michael, I like that you mentioned you're an Alabama fan. A lot of people that probably didn't know where he went to school, if you said he went to Bama, they'd be like, this guy, yeah, he definitely was on that front. But I remember back when I was talking to you, I don't know, what was that, 4 or 5 years ago when you were a small guy playing at Stanford. First off, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't even know, Stanford's a program. I remember when we talked on the last time you called, they like almost beat Florida State, and we were all getting all hyped on Stanford and how fun that was. But with college football, it's still pretty up in the air. But for a bunch of these small programs, and I want to mention like Stanford, I don't think at this point they've announced they're going to be canceling their season. But a lot of these smaller ones, it seems like they're kind of going that way. What does this mean for these kind of small programs where obviously they can produce NFL like talent, guys that can last in the league? If they have no season, what can that mean for not only these players that have NFL dreams or at least dreams to play football, whether it's like the Canadian Football League, the XFL, and like what kind of impact can this have, on a university like Stanford where they rely so heavily on football?
Yeah, man, it's a crazy time. So even if you think like the guys who did make it from the smaller schools, who took the route that I took with the undrafted route, man, they don't have any preseason games. So obviously, if you do well enough, you make the team that you're on if they have the spots available. But that film is not out there for the 31 other teams to, digest and see if you fit in their scheme. So it's just a tough time for just football players all around, but especially for my guys back at D1 AA's that, are off the beaten path and not the, the powerhouses traditionally. It's going to be tough, man. The boys just started, I want to say like 2 days ago here down in Sanford. So obviously they're optimistic that they're going to have a season. So I'm excited to see that. And I will try to do my best to mentor those guys via, Zoom or whatever. So man, they're still working. But for the guys who canceled their season, it's just going to be tough, man. It's nothing that, the NFL can really do. It's nothing that, anybody can really do to facilitate a platform for them to play. It's just COVID is just a rampant thing, and it's taking everybody out of their element and disrupting a lot of things. So my heart goes out to them really, really, really specifically because, I don't know how we rectify that. And that's something that, if they have a committee or something like that, I would love to be on it to try to find, I got a lot of free time on my hands now, unfortunately. But I would love to try to find a way for those guys to, make themselves known. And, a big senior year can catapult you from being an undrafted free agent to being a draft pick or, especially in the D1 AA case, just putting yourself on the radar. So it's going to be a tough time. And to see those D1 AA programs cancel, I definitely don't blame them. Obviously, I just removed myself from the NFL. So who would I be to judge those, universities for doing, what they feel is right. And, I personally think that's in the best interest of some of these kids, especially if they have underlying health conditions, respiratory issues, what have you. So it's a tough situation, but I would love to see somebody try, or a group of people try, somebody try to figure out how to rectify this. But I think this is going to screw up a lot of NFL draft boards for a long time. So, it's a lot of things that they still got to figure out. But we got to figure out how we're going to keep those guys that are in NFL safe. And obviously the teams who are going to play this fall, they got to try to keep their players safe for I guess 20-something weeks. So it's a lot up in the air, and my heart definitely goes out to the D1AA guys who won't have a season. And I'll do whatever I can to make sure I give the most advice to them I can. But I'm in the same boat with them, to be honest with you. It's an ambiguous time. It's a lot of stuff going on, but they got to keep their faith and keep working. And if they're presented with opportunity to work out or whatever in the spring, they should definitely try to take as much advantage of it as they can.
So last question for you, Michael. Obviously, you've moved on to the Vikings now, and you signed this deal this offseason. But the last time we talked, you were still a Raven, and Lamar Jackson had just been named a starter. Well, I kind of want to ask you about that last season in Baltimore, because we've gone from Lamar Jackson just being a starting quarterback to one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the National Football League over the past year or so. So I want to ask, what was it like watching that up close every week this past season? And also, I got to ask, how did Big Trust start in the locker room?
All right. Look, that's an easier question. Let's start with Big Trust. So that's the South Florida thing. So he's from, I don't want to mispronounce anybody's neighborhood name. He's from South Florida. That's something that, he went to school with Kodak. I don't really know how to explain it. I'm not from South Florida. I'm a country boy. But now it's something he brought with him, and Mark Ingram got a hold of it, and he's super energetic. He's super marketable, all that good stuff, and it kind of just took off, man. It started as like the Florida boys were saying, and then down to our offensive linemen and everybody else just kind of started saying it, and the city loved it, and it just became a thing. So, like I said, that's the South Florida thing. I don't take no credit part of it. But, I've said it a few times, and, it's a cool thing. So, no, that's something that he whoever, in that neighborhood made that up. So that's something cool. And it just went viral, man. It was insane. But to watch him grow was phenomenal, man. We at the end of his rookie year, we were talking, people were making jokes about him being a running back. So to go from that, and to go from barely being in the first round of the NFL draft to an MVP in the very next season, that's unprecedented, bro. That's unheard of. So that's a credit to his work ethic, man. That's a credit to his resiliency, because there are a lot of people doubting him. When he took over for Joe Flacco, there were a lot of naysayers. So no, man, that's a super, super credit to him. Obviously, Greg Roman played a great part in that, with the offensive scheme and all that kind of stuff, Coach Harbs and all those guys. So, if anybody was in that locker room, especially how we started off, I think we were probably 2-2 at one point. We had just lost to the Cleveland Browns. Nobody would assume that we would win like 14 straight. So, no, that was a magical ride, man. Obviously, Derrick Henry and the dang Tennessee Titans ruined my shot at pursuing a Super Bowl. But, no, man, it's cool, man. No, we just to see how he grew, just to see how he performed throughout the year. If you didn't watch every Sunday, the dude did something amazing each and every Sunday. And I would say my favorite play, I actually got hurt in that game, and I saw it on TV. That spin move he put on the Cincinnati Bengals was unreal. So I'm watching this literally on a bum ankle in the locker room, and I was screaming. So the dude is really an amazing athlete. He's an amazing person, more importantly. So super humble dude, super hard worker, and everything that he's gotten, he's earned it legitimately from the mud. So to see his story and to see what he's been doing, man, is amazing. And I'm a big fan of his until we got to play him at some point. And then other than that, I'm a Lamar Jackson fan for sure.
It's one of those weird things where people say, like, all right, Brett Favre's first completed pass was to himself. Well, Lamar's first pass he threw in the NFL was caught by you. So you got that for you too, right?
For sure. I forgot about that. Yeah. The ball, man. They would have probably, you know what I'm saying? That would have been dope to have in the man cave.
Hey, you're more than just a DT. You got hands too, right?
Yeah, I got a little bit, man. I scored a few touchdowns in college. That's some D1 AA crap for you, but
some fullback right up the middle, right?
For sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that before you came on. We were like, yeah, if you missed a tidbit on the last time we talked with him, he actually was responsible for catching the first official pass. I mean, it's sore, like 10, 15 yards.
I know that was the first official pass. That's insane.
But you caught it, and it was a good catch. And I think you said last time your hands were hurting for a few minutes after because you had so much lick on that ball too.
Yeah, my thumb was hurting, and I had my hands too. So no, that's interesting, man. I wish I would have known that. That's some fun I'll be able to tell my kids one day.
It'll be a great trivia question. It'll be a great trivia question.
For sure.
Well, Michael, we said this last time, but we can't stress this enough. Thank you for, letting aside 15, 20 minutes. I just said all we need is 10 minutes of your time, but you were so gracious to give us about 30. So we're all, very thankful for that. Kudos to you. I mean, again, this couldn't have been an easy decision. I'm sure, especially after just signing a brand new contract with the Vikings. But, you've always been great with us. Sometime, hopefully, as things can get a little easier in the coming months, depending on if there's a season, we'd always love to have you back on talking football, talking what's going on. And we're just really appreciative of your time. And thank you so much, my man.
Oh, no, my pleasure, man. I'm forever in your debt, man. You got me out there on the internet, and people got to see I had some talent, man. So, no, I appreciate you guys having me. And this is truly a pleasure. And anytime you want to have me back, I got y'all. Y'all have a good one.
We say the same thing about Blake, too. He made us who we are.
All right.
I do what I can. I do what I can. All right, Michael.
You got to start charging some royalties, bro. You got to start.
Hey, listen to the man, Blake. Listen to the man.
I just have one final thing, Michael. Once everything kind of opens up, what's like the one restaurant or just like one meal that you just haven't had the last few months that that's the first place you're going? Because this is something I've kind of been asking with other people, and it's kind of interesting to know. So what's like the go-to place, your number one place when everything opens back up that you want to hit?
So, I spent time in Italy, but my whole life I've been an Italian fan. So I love Italian food. So they got this little place that's not too far from my house that I had to stay away from getting ready for camp, obviously. It's called Bellini's. Awesome wine. Their pork chops are amazing. I don't eat pork, but I've been told that. But for me, the chicken Florentine is awesome. The spaghetti and meatballs is awesome. I've dang near tried the whole menu, but I've been going there since I've been in college. So, and the risk of not, running down their whole menu, they have amazing, authentic food, and I love it, man.
All right, well, hopefully you get to enjoy that soon because that actually sounds fantastic. But Michael, thanks again, my guy. You're the best, and stay healthy out there, stay safe, and we'll keep in touch.
For sure, brother. Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a blessed one. Y'all stay safe.
You too. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Michael.
All right, guys. Well, that was Michael Pierce, who, I mean, if you guys haven't seen our first interview we did with him, again, this was, I think, 1.5, 2 years ago. It's when we were in the studio at Arizona State. I mean, this is a guy where he gives the best interviews. You can ask him, what did you have for breakfast today? And he'll give you an answer where you're like, that's absolutely fantastic. Again, this has been the first time that he's shared any of this information. We had a lot of players in the NFL today that opted out. I think there were 6 or 7 on the Patriots. There was some kind of spurted out, but they didn't really share, their in-depth reasons as to why. So, this is kind of like an exclusive interview, and now you guys know, and it makes sense. When you got a guy, you got asthma, it's no joke. A lot of these people, they kind of say you're getting paid millions of dollars to play football. If anything, I think that just makes Michael Pierce that much, more of a respected guy where he can pass up millions and millions and millions of dollars to sit out a season to help himself out. So major props to him for making that decision and joining us. This news came out 7-8 hours ago. And the second I heard, I sent him a DM, and within 15 minutes he replied saying, I got you. I'll be on the show. So he's an absolute fantastic guy. So if you haven't already, go follow him on Twitter, Instagram, whatnot. And he's just an awesome guy.
And
he made us all hungry in the meantime too.
I'm gonna go, Josh. Since you're 16, I'm gonna go get some wine after the show and hang out with that. But Blake, like he brought up, you made a highlight video for him years ago, and he said you put his name on the map. But I don't want to give you all the credit for that.
It's okay. I never get the biggest.
Let's settle down here, Blake.
Hey, take it easy.
All right, so that was a fun interview with Michael Pierce, guys. But it's time now for us to talk some college football. A lot to get to, and first and foremost, guys, it's official. It's officially time to get to the final conference realignment. We ended it 2 weeks ago, but I pitched it when we did trivia that it'd be this upcoming week, and well, I guess I should say Josh's conference realignment, considering that he won 4 of the 5. So, guys, I mean, we've done 5 shows talking about conference realignment, so we don't have to go too in depth on it. Essentially, what's going to happen is we are going to show you guys the 5 winning conferences, 4 that came from Josh, 1 that came from me. We're going to put the conference winning ones on the screen. For the most part, they're all going to stay that way. However, there are a few teams that were on, like Josh had in the Pac-12, I had in the Big 12, that we kind of had to figure out how we're going to handle it. And Josh, he did a great job figuring out. He's going to explain it when I get it on the screen. So first and foremost, let me get the first one up. This is, oh, by the way, if you guys are confused on what's going on, about a month ago, we were named the brand new commissioners of college football. We're running it, and these are exactly how we're going to set the new Power 5 conferences. A bunch of realignment going on, and we took to Twitter at the HH Show _ and asked you guys to vote, and these were the results we got. So first and foremost, here is what the Pac-12 looks like. Brady, you can take control over the controls because you know how to put the picture on and have all of us in the background, I think. But Josh, here's the Pac-12. But there is going to be a slight change in the Pac-12 from what I remember.
Yep, you're right, Blake. So let's just say so I won 4 and Blake won the Big 12. I think it's worth pointing out that regardless of who won, we got very, very lucky because we only had 4 schools that we only moved around 4 schools total. So this is what the Pac-12 looks like. Added San Diego State in the south and Boise State in the north, and to divide those 2 divisions. And then what we're actually going to do here is what is happening right now.
There we go.
Perfect. Looks great.
That's a lot better.
So if you go over to the side and see the schools that missed the cut, I kind of went crazy with the Pac-12 and did a huge explanation and thought, hey, let's throw in some schools who missed the cut. What we're actually going to do here is Blake won the Big 12 and has Colorado in the Big 12. He, in his Pac-12, that obviously I won, he had BYU in the Pac-12. So as a simple 1-for-1, what we're doing here is we're compromising, because you got to make compromises in life, folks. So our compromise here is that we're actually putting BYU in the Pac-12. They'll be in the South. It's that in-state rivalry for Utah, and we're going to put Colorado in the Big 12. So this map, the only difference is BYU in the Pac-12 and Colorado is out. Everything else remains exactly the same. So again, the only 2 additions: San Diego State in the South, Boise State in the North, and then of course Utah or BYU swaps out with Colorado.
Yeah, so Brady, if you just want to quickly,
who won the Big 12? Blake, did you win Big 12?
I did, yeah. Okay. So I won the Big 12, but I sent all the photos to our chat the other day. So I don't know if you still have them.
I still have them on my computer.
Okay, so yeah, I won, and then the rest were Josh. So as he mentioned, this could have been potentially this would have messed everything up.
It could have been chaotic.
If 4 of us, if we would have had different winners each week, because I think for the most part, I think maybe the Pac-12 was actually the most similar that we had in regards to the teams, aside from Brady just essentially dropping Cal and Stanford to the Ivy League and Lyle adding in Eastern Washington for the most part. But all the other 4 conferences were all over the place. It was an absolute mess. So this, I mean, we didn't really think it through going into it, but yeah.
I did.
This wasn't even really. This was an idea that developed as we continued to do this, because originally I think it was just we're just going to let everybody see which one they like best, and then by the second conference realignment, we were like, we're just going to do a full conference realignment for everybody, and that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, so again, if you want to go, actually, I think Josh, because I was going to say you guys can go see the full results and everything, which, by the way, again, go to our Twitter at the HH Show _, because when we do future, things like this, you guys can get involved. The fans are the ones that decided this. I mean, albeit I think I had the 5 best conferences out of all of them, but the fans didn't. The fans didn't think so. So the fans voted for this. So again, make sure to follow the show at the HH Show _. But Josh actually went in, the little mathematician he is, and calculated all the numbers and everything. Josh, do you have those handy by chance?
I do.
Oh, yes, he does.
Oh, Josh, look at
Josh,
you.
he gave us all the numbers for it. So, Josh, give us the rundown on total votes and percentages, how everything went down.
So do you want me to go by so I can? Do you want me? I can just give the numbers per conference when Brady pulls them up.
Unless you have totals. Do you have like an overview total?
Yeah, I have an overview total. I can give that at the end if you'd like.
All right.
So, well, quickly for the Pac-12, we just said the Pac-12. There were 171 total votes on the Pac-12, and you can kind of tell, so the numbers get higher and higher as we go along. It came out to Brady had 20 votes, which is 11.7%. Lyle had 23 at 13.5%. Blake had 60 votes at 35.1%, and I finished with 68 votes, which was 39.8% to win the Pac-12. And if you've got the Big 12, we can move on to that too.
I do. Give me a second.
And the Big 12 was Blake's. This might have been one of the closer ones, actually. The Big 12, I think, was one of the closer ones.
Brady.
Yeah, Brady, this is Lyles. He did not win.
Yeah, right.
He did not win.
We're getting there. Which one's Blake's? Oh, yeah, Blake's the one with the great graphics.
Yeah, it kills your eyes when you look at it. It kills your eyes when you look at it. Yeah, there it is. Ooh, whoa.
Yikes.
Yeah, look how great that looks. The perfect Big 14. The only thing I did talk about is the Colorado State one. I had him in there for the rivalry with Colorado, and they actually do have a real nice brand new stadium, but a lot of people didn't like it for that one reason, so maybe I would take them out and add someone else. But for the most part, perfect. You can move on. The perfect.
It is worth pointing out, though, that part of our next actually, Brady, just go to the SEC next, because this will transition well into that. So obviously the Colorado, like we mentioned with the last one, like Blake said, the Colorado State rivalry up there, and he has Colorado moving from the Pac-12 to the Big 12. We ended up switching Texas A&M to the SEC. So that was our compromise with the two schools that were conflicting for other conferences were A&M and Colorado. So we just had 4 schools changed entirely, and then A&M goes to the SEC, and then Missouri moves back to the Big 12. So then we each swapped one school out of our conference, and each swapped and each kept one school in.
Brady, if you can, do you have my ACC handy that you can roll up there real quickly?
Yeah, let me pull this up.
Because you'll see why in about 5 seconds. If you're able to find it, of course.
I am.
Oh, perfect.
It just takes me a second to...
Because our man again, coming to clutch, which, by the way, I see he has a Ravens profile picture, so maybe that was an awesome interview for listening to Michael Pierce. He says that my ACC realignment was actually his favorite out of all the conferences. So, by the way, first off, again, my guy, we're going to have you on a future show so we can talk a bunch of college football, as we've done in the past when you've called into the show. But my first thing, because someone said he's giving away his whole bank account. I like this. He's on paid furlough right now, so he's being a lazy bastard and making money doing it. So again, you're the man. We really appreciate it. We're looking forward to getting you on. But this is my amazing ACC that for whatever reason didn't win, but I think it was close. But look how perfect that is. I mean, I don't see any flaws, and Brady took it off. But
yeah, I took it off. We're not talking about the ACC right now, Blake.
I know, but I just had to get that up there.
And an ACC that lost, no less.
I know.
All right, moving on to SEC.
I think Josh has like a bunch of burner Twitter accounts, and
dude, I wish. I would have voted for myself at all of them.
I have access to all 25 SB Nation California accounts, and I still can't win.
There's your answer, Josh and Lyle.
I'm kidding. I just have access to a few of them.
All right, what are we doing next? Which one's next?
And the inside pitch account.
Oh yeah, I went on our inside pitch account and voted for me every time.
So here we have the SEC, and this one, the only difference. Actually, I think this one doesn't change at all, because I moved out Mizzou and moved in A&M, and then for the other conference, we moved in Mizzou and moved out A&M. Right? Is that the only difference? Yeah,
that was literally that was the only.
Cool. So Blake and I both swapped one of our schools.
Yeah, we got lucky with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are pretty much the realignments. Again, a lot of people had fun with this. We had a blast doing it. It was fun getting to see everyone's every week and get all the reactions. Where especially there was just times where people would be like, "Josh, yours is awful, but yet yours is great." People would like attack Brady. Again, with the Eastern Washington one with Lyle was my personal favorite, just because no one even cared what Lyle said, even though he had actually a solid reasoning behind it. Everyone was just going off on him, but it was fun.
Okay, the funny thing about that is I was actually originally with my Pac-12. It was going to be the same as Josh's, where you just add San Diego State and Boise State, but then you text me saying, like, make it interesting or whatever, which in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, okay, make it crazy is what Blake's saying, because then in my mind, I'm thinking, well, that's too boring. That's too easy to add Boise State and San Diego State. So I was like, all right, I'll make it fun. Get a new rivalry going, get the greatest show on Smurf turf, but I guess nobody liked that. I care less about that one than the Big Ten one. The Big Ten, like Illinois has won less games in the last 8 years than Rutgers, and Illinois was voted to stay in. I was trying to do people a favor and actually let people watch some competitive football in that conference.
But again, by that logic, like one of those big schools is going to be really bad. It's just mad.
Hey, it's okay.
Like,
It's okay.
Hey,
They'll get relegated eventually.
At least you didn't put Indiana and Purdue in Illinois.
and in the SEC.
There you go.
That's a good point.
But that was a lot of fun, guys. But it's time now, as you guys can see in the title of this video, this is going to be a fun segment. Someone asked us this on Twitter. We're going to get to the Pac-12 news in a bit, but I know a lot of people wanted us to hear our thoughts on this and to hear what we had to say. So after this, we'll get to the Pac-12 news. But guys,
also for the one you forgot, here's the Big Ten.
And there you go. But
and the ACC, we didn't do that either.
Yeah,
it's fine. I mean,
just move along. We get it. Josh, you won all of them. We get it.
Josh is great. Everyone likes him, and Josh has a lot of burner accounts.
Don't you want to hear the totals, though, Blake?
Oh, that's right. The totals. Get us the totals, guys.
So we had a total of 1,025 votes. Lyle had 115 of them.
What percent is that?
That's 11.2.
Okay.
Brady finished with 231 at 22.5%. Blake finished with 279 at 27.2%. And this seems like a big jump. I finished with 400 exactly, which was 39%. And even obviously winning 4 of them, I would have had the most votes, but a significant number of those votes are because of the Big Ten. Because a lot of the other ones were really close, and the Big Ten was 52% were mine. So
Yeah.
that's why that number is a big jump, even though it wasn't that big. Realistically.
All good. It wasn't that big. It just wasn't that big. All right, guys. So someone, I believe it was on Twitter. Someone on Twitter tweeted at us the other day, or a few days ago, and asked.
That is what you do on Twitter.
Yeah, they were on Twitter. Actually, here, let me just go on our Twitter right now and actually find it so I can give this person a shout out, since we're pretty much using their idea. And someone said it's Ryan at Rastro22. He said rank the 10 coaches in the country. But we decided 10's kind of a bunch, so we're going to do 5. So we're going to be giving our top 5 coaches in college football. Guys, I thought we can do this kind of like how we do when we do our Heisman rankings, when we did our show back at ASU, where we kind of go around. I said we each give our number 5, give our number 4, give our number 3, 2, 1. We don't have to give explanations for it right away, because I think for the most part, we're all going to kind of have maybe the same. So we're all going to go around, give our reactions, and then we can kind of just briefly mention some of them and some guys that missed the cut, because we know who really good coaches are, unless you have one that's in your top 5 that needs some explaining. But again, a lot of these guys really don't need an explanation unless it's something just completely out of left field. So we'll each go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Josh, I'll kick it with you. Who's your number 5 coach in college football?
Number 5, Kirby Smart. I think that a lot of people think that he might be a little overrated. He's kind of a very vanilla head coach, but he wins a lot, and if we're being honest, he's a handful of plays away from being a national championship winning head coach and being considered as a top 2 or 3 coach in college football. And he hasn't been around that long. So kind of a borderline one for me, but I think it's a safe pick, and I think it's an honest pick.
Okay, Blake, do you want a short explanation or no explanation? I don't know.
No explanation, just because we're gonna get to that.
Okay, number 5, Ryan Day.
Number 5, Ryan Day.
And my number 5, I got Lincoln Riley.
Number 4, Kyle Whittingham.
Oh no!
Legitimate.
This one you can explain because I didn't.
Kyle Whittingham is the most underrated football coach in the country. His win percentage is, 70% at Utah, and he's been there his whole career. He's got 131 wins in in not even 200 games. And he basically got this team. He beat Alabama with Utah a couple of years ago when they were in the Mountain West. They played in a New Year's Six Bowl as a group. The team promoted almost to the Pac-12, and so many people were like, "Yeah, but like they're not going to have any success in the Pac-12." And no, he hasn't won a conference title yet. No, he hasn't made the playoff or whatever. But they have been in the conversation every single year since joining the Pac-12. I think it is amazing that he is still at Utah, because USC wanted to hire him a couple years ago and they didn't. I thought they were going to. I think he is legitimately a top 5 coach in college football, and more people should pay attention to Utah.
And this just adds to Jayhawk Gaming's comment, best college football coverage, because again, who's going out there and going in depth on Winningham? No one. So I like it, Josh. Great job explaining it and whatnot. I don't have him in mind, but maybe he's in someone else's.
He is not in mine.
I can say he's not in mine too.
Look. Here's the thing. He's a good head coach, and I'm sure Josh is going to disagree with me on what I say here, but like, I don't know. I view like him and Brian Kelly about on the same level.
Not even close.
Okay, we're not going to get to this now, boys. Nope.
No.
Look, like they don't win any. Like Utah doesn't win any big games. They're good, but to be an elite head coach, like in top 5, like these are coaches with like elite programs. I feel like, and Utah's a really good program, but they don't have a conference title. They don't have a playoff win. They don't have a playoff appearance. Like he's really good, but I think winning titles and conferences kind of plays into this. That's all. Like. But that's just my 2 cents.
Brian Kelly's never won a conference title at Notre Dame.
That's true. That's also right.
He's never lost one either. He's undefeated. He's never lost.
But anyway, okay. Number 4, I have Lincoln Riley.
Number 4, I got Coach O, Ed Orgeron.
And number 4, I have Ryan Day.
So number 3, I've got Lincoln Riley.
I had Ed O at number 3.
I got Lincoln Riley at 3.
And I got Coach O at my number 3.
Go Tigers.
Number 2, this is kind of tough actually between these top 2. Number 2, I've got Dabo Swinney.
I think he's an absolutely phenomenal coach, but Dabo at 2. It's a close race, but Dabo at 2.
Do we make it 3 for 3? I say yes, we do. Dabo at 2 as well.
Unfortunately, you guys looked at my notes and copied my number 2 because I have Dabo at number 2. But unless there's an upset coming right now, I just want to touch on this. Josh, you don't have Coach O in your top 5.
I do not.
Are you a little, should I go get the salt along with the pepper because he left USC? Or is it just because you think he hasn't proved enough yet while at LSU, which is a valid reason?
Not so kind of yes, but which is
kind of salt?
No. Again, as an SC fan in 2013, I did not want SC to hire Coach O. And like looking back, like hindsight's 2020, but I didn't. And I've got a Coach O sign right there on my. How do I raise my thumb? Right, yeah, right there.
It's so weird. Everything's backwards. It's like,
yeah, so I've got a Coach O sign on my door. Like I love Coach O, but again, like he wasn't great at Ole Miss. He was a defensive coordinator forever, and then when he went into LSU, like he was a good coach. And obviously, everything they did last year was incredible. For me, as an actual coach, I'm not quite there yet. For the same reason why, spoiler alert, I don't have Ryan Day in my top 5. And I think is he probably going to be one of the top 5 coaches in college football? Yes. Is he a little unproven for me? Yes. Same thing with Mario Cristobal. But I mean, there's no hit on Coach O whatsoever. I literally put him at 6 maybe. But for me, I don't think he's top 5.
Hey, Lyle, a bunch of people in the comments are asking where Jimbo Fisher is.
Oh, he's not in the top 5. Absolutely not.
He's gone, Jimbo Fisher.
Was that on a show or was that something else when he just went on the thing, how Jimbo Fisher's not – he thinks just is not –
I think I sent something in our text. I was like, or in our group chat. I was like about Jimbo Fisher.
All right, guys. Number 1, I think this might be something we all agree upon.
Mac Brown.
Yeah.
No, it's Nick Saban.
I mean, that would have been like it wouldn't have been an awful one.
No,
awful take.
It's Saban.
I had a 3-way tie for number 1, and it was really tough. It was Chip Kelly for UCLA, elite head coach Chip Kelly, the great Lane Kiffin, and Nick Saban. So I had to give it from I'm going to say Nick Saban. I'll go Nick Saban for this one, just to give it to him.
Yeah.
The other guys have too many accolades.
I got Nick Saban as well, just because, again, I mean, you can try to argue for Dabo. That one I understand. But with Nick Saban, there's no really need to explain it. There's no need to argue it. You guys kind of explained it. Here's a good comment though for me. Like, my opinion on Ryan Day, he's not in the top 5 yet, but he definitely will be in the next 2 to 3 years, which Josh kind of
completely agree.
Mentioned as well. This is a good one. It's kind of what makes a good coach to you. And I guess for mine is just, consistent winning, being competitive in a year-to-year basis, the recruiting process, and I guess just keeping a program respectable. I think that's kind of the number one thing. Like, Willie Taggart, this is like an up-and-coming coach. He's kind of made a laughingstock. Jimbo Fisher, he's kind of slowly becoming a laughingstock over there at Texas A&M. So that's just my quick thing, which, by the way, great Saints logo right there. That's the Super Bowl winning team in 2021. But guys, there were a few coaches that I wanted to just highlight that kind of just missed my top 5. I mentioned this earlier. I kind of made my own top 10. I had Kirby Smart at 6. I had Dan Mullen at 7. I had Brian Kelly at 8, Mac Brown at 9, and I had Gus Malzahn at 10. Again, you have a lot of great coaches.
No James Franklin?
James Franklin, it was either him or Gus at number 10.
Okay.
But I just thought...
Wait, you didn't have Jimbo in there either?
Jimbo's not a top 10 coach.
Not anymore.
He is.
Not anymore, he's not.
Well, I mean, when you take that Florida State team in 2013, I feel like if you had those guys I just mentioned in my top 10, I feel like 6 or 7 of them would have won the Natty with that team. That Florida State team was so dominant. If you would have put any one of these top coaches there, I think they would have won. Just as Josh and I were talking about yesterday, how if I managed the Dodgers, I guarantee they'd make the playoffs because the team's already so stacked. But we got some other ones here. Mario Cristobal, James Franklin, those are top 10 easily. Yeah, again, Mario Cristobal, he was another one. He was kind of like 11, 12, kind of, hovering around there or something like that. I'm just trying to get some full ones. Once Ryan Day gets a full team full of his own recruits, he'll be a top 5 coach. He's still feeding off of Urban Meyer, which is kind of another thing. He is still kind of getting Urban Meyer's recruits.
Could be worse.
A year or two.
Can I give my 2 cents on that?
Oh yeah, you can.
And maybe Brady feels the same way. But this is exactly why I had Ryan Day at 5. He's certainly not number 1 or number 2 by any standards. But look, you can have a Chase Young and a Justin Fields and a Jeff Okudah and a Sean Wade. The list goes on. You can have all those guys on your team. If you don't run the right scheme and have good coaching, you're still not going to win. Like Ohio State could have easily gone 10-2 and missed the playoff. But I mean, they were 12-0 and by far the most dominant team in the Big Ten.
Especially for a first-year head coach.
Yeah.
That first year plus, 4 games from the year prior?
Mm-hmm.
So for a first-year head coach, obviously he took over what Urban brought in. You still have to win the room over. You still have to win the team and have them believe in what you're preaching to them. And obviously I think Ryan Day did that pretty easily.
Yeah, so a lot of really good coaches. But guys, before we move to our Q&A, which, by the way, if you have any questions you'd like to ask us, start asking those in the live chat because we're going to do a fun, quick little thing right here. What coaches, guys, what 5 coaches would you love to play for? Now, this could be 5 you'd love to play for because they're winning coaches. You'd probably win for them. It could be 5 that just you don't even care about winning. You just want to have a good time. That's the route I took. But Josh, we're just going to go 5 through 1 here. We don't have to go like around. We can just, or 1 through 5. There's no order. Just the 5 coaches that if you were a college football recruit that you would love to play for.
I decided not to include Saban, but I think that he should be mentioned because I think it is if Nick Saban calls you and says, I want you to come play for me, how are you not considering that? But the 5 guys I've got listed on here in no particular order, I've got Herm Edwards at ASU. How could I not? And I think that you guys might have him on yours too. Got Coach O. I feel like, I didn't have him on my top 5, but I've got him on this one because I think it'd be great to play for him. Lincoln Riley's one that kind of carries over onto both lists. And here are the 2 that I'm actually really happy about putting them on here. Mario Cristobal. I think he's a top 10 coach in college football, or at least is going to get there eventually. Maybe he's not right now, but he's a guy that I would want to play for. And then PJ Fleck at Minnesota. He always looks like he's having a great time. He's a good coach. He's got a pretty good track record. And look at what he did at Minnesota these last couple of years since going over from Western Michigan. And he always looks like he's having a good time on the sidelines. And what I love is that in the who did they play in the bowl game this year? Auburn. On that last drive, when I believe Auburn's driving down the field, he's like in the referee's face arguing with him. And like a minute later, he's like hugging the referee and laughing with him and having a good time. And I think that's awesome.
Good list.
Okay, so I want to give a quick shout out here to Chris Peterson because he's technically now not an active coach. If he was, he would have been on my top 3. Like, I don't think I've ever heard a single person say a single bad thing about that guy. I think legitimately just about every single player he's had loves playing for him. But he's technically not an active coach now, so he's not on my list. The 5 I had were Saban. I mean, that's just a talent thing. Edo, Herm, Mike Leach, Lincoln Riley.
I like it. I have wow, excuse me.
Hey,
I have Herm. I'm good, Doug. I went more for the fun, entertaining route. I got Herm Edwards, all aboard the Herm train. Mike Leach, because I like having random conversations, as this show shows. So Mike Leach is easily on there. Lane Kiffin, because I want to see if Lane Kiffin actually runs his own Twitter account, because it is elite. Coach O, because it's Coach O. And then Tom Allen at Indiana.
Oh, boy.
No, I'm totally kidding. I think James Franklin would be an awesome guy to play for up at Penn State. He's got such great energy. He's a player's coach, and it really shows. And so I think, James Franklin up at Penn State would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a solid list. I got my 5 here. No particular order. I got Lane Kiffin, Mike Leach, Herm Edwards, PJ Fleck, and the grass eater himself, Les Miles. But I actually had a bonus pick as well, Hugh Freeze. But he has to be in the hospital.
He has to be in the hospital bed.
Yeah, he has to be in that hospital bed if he's there. But yeah, those are the coaches that I'd like to play for. There's some fun ones out there. But guys, we were going to talk about the latest with the Pac-12 and what they said is potentially likely going to happen for the season. But due to time, we're not going to get to that. But plus, next week, though, there's a chance that other conferences might come out and announce that they're going to be doing that as well. So if that's the case, that gives us a good amount to talk about. Potentially, if they even release like their schedules as well. So we'll get to the Pac-12 news next week in regards to their 10-game conference season. But it is now time for the Q&A, guys. Since it is already so late, we do want to get to probably 5 to 10 questions, maybe more. For these, like it's just a quick answer. No need to go in depth unless they're asking you what the meaning of life is or where you came from. No need to go in depth. Anything like that. So if you guys have questions, let us know in the live chat. We're going to try to get through as many as we can in the next 5 or 10 minutes or so because I want to catch this Dodgers-Astros game. But I'm going to keep you guys posted if anyone's beamed or anything because that's our number one top priority. The one question, which by the way, if you guys want to have top priority and get in a question asked, because I mean, already there's been 14 comments since I just said that 10 seconds ago. Hit us up on Twitter at the HH_. I posted a tweet a few hours before saying hit us up with any questions you have for the Q&A. We had a good amount. I think we had 10 or 15 or so, but I just chose one because I want to get to a bunch of these. But the one lone victorious guy who got his question chosen, Johnny Barrow, should Lincoln Riley be on the hot seat if he doesn't win a natty with Rattler or Caleb Williams? Now, this is a guy where he's there every year, but he just can't get the job done. It's kind of like Harbaugh, how he does well every year. He just can't get it done against Ohio State and in the big-time games when it matters. So, guys, yes or no, do you think he should be on the hot seat?
No, you make a good point, like if he can't get over the hump, but no, he should not be.
Yeah, I've been as big a proponent as anybody about how the Big 12 is just like a bunch of choke artists come playoff time and how they don't win anything. Yeah, that rant's in a different show. But no, he should not be fired. I mean, the way he develops guys and the way he, recruits and performs. And here's the thing, Oklahoma's still winning Big 12 titles pretty consistently. So Lincoln Riley, yes, I mean, I think he can take it a step further. I think Oklahoma needs to get into a national title game, but no, he shouldn't be fired.
Not at all. You brought up a minute ago, Blake, Jim Harbaugh, but this is a little different. At least Oklahoma's, produced 2 straight Heisman winners and some top draft picks, 2 straight number 1 draft picks. Oh, and they've been in the playoffs, so they're not Michigan. So I say no, not at all. If you don't win with those 2 guys, you're fine. As long as you're still making it to the playoffs and you're making it to, and if not the playoffs, New Year's Six Bowl, you're just fine if you're Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, I mean, if he makes the playoff again, obviously he's not getting the job done, but it's not easy getting to the playoff every year. So I definitely think. What's up, Josh?
I was going to say, and this is probably something that Lyle would agree with or like to hear from somebody not named our good friend TJ Mathewson, but Lincoln Riley. No, Lincoln Riley will get a better job and leave before he's fired by Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
He'll end up in the NFL before Oklahoma fires him.
Yeah, he'll become the next head coach of the Seattle Seahawks after Pete Carroll has a heart attack on the field after.
Jesus, Blake.
No,
Lord.
No. What?
Well,
that guy could never. That guy.
Hear me out. I was going to say has a heart attack after he sees what happens at the play calling that he did, like Super Bowl 2.0. He's going to see the result and have a heart attack from that. This guy is in great health for being 69 years old or 70 however old he is. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
The Ohio State kicker is no longer with us. All right.
He can take the Seahawks job in 2 years. That's fine by me.
All right, guys. Although we did talk about this last week, we got to answer the question from our guy. What non-conference game that has been canceled will you miss not getting to see this season?
I think I said this last week. Obviously, SC Notre Dame, but one that's not regular. I'm going to skip over the Oregon-Ohio State game, and I'm going to say Oregon-North Dakota State.
You took mine.
I just want to know. I just want to know how that game would go. I'm not saying North Dakota State would have won, but I think it would have been a good game.
Mine's Oregon-Ohio State for sure.
Yeah, I think Oregon-Ohio State's one of the big ones. But there was one, I think it was Washington playing in a pretty big
Michigan.
Yeah, it was Washington, Michigan. So that would be a fun one to see, or that I'm going to miss seeing too.
Yeah,
Big Ten, Pac-12.
Mine was Oregon, North Dakota State. But I think since Josh took that one, I'm probably going to go with maybe just seeing LSU, Texas, a rematch. I think that would have been a fun one. James, who will be a surprise quarterback in college football this year?
I'm not just saying this. I think a lot more people are. Obviously, if we get a season, I think a lot more people are going to pay attention to Jaden Daniels. I do. I think he's going to have a really stacked receiving core. Maybe he's not going to have that N'Keal Harry or Brandon Ayuk that jumps out at everybody. He's not going to have that main top guy, but he's got a really good group of receivers, and he's got a brand new offensive coordinator that's going to let him fling the football everywhere. So maybe Jaden Daniels, especially if ASU's good.
Yeah.
And if Frank Darby can stay at the level he's been performing at the last couple of years too.
Yeah,
I was about to say, at the pace we're on, Frank Darby's going to be a first rounder at the end of next year.
But he's going to move up. He's going to be picked in the teens.
Yeah, he's got to get higher.
30s.
He's got to get a little bit higher, yeah.
Because
I was going to say, Jad
yeah.
Johnson Jr. is just so good. He gets some once-in-a-lifetime waiver from the NCAA, and he goes top 10 in 2 years when he's, after a freshman year.
Yeah, I was going to say, nobody thought Ayuk would be a first rounder at the beginning of last season, and look where he's at now. So you never know. Yeah, I was going to say Jaden or Sam Howell for sure. I don't know how underrated, quote unquote, those guys are, but I think those guys can go from being, somebody that college football fans know or diehard college football fans know to going to a couple quarterbacks that can be on a national level.
James, you're going to like mine. I'm going to go with Kyle Trask, also known as – oh, sorry, Brady, I forgot you went. Well, I'm going to go with Kyle Trask anyway. De'Ara King's what was it? It was Kyle Trask was De'Ara King's backup in high school. I think we were talking about that not too long ago. So Kyle Trask –
De'Ara King was named the starter for Miami.
There's BK's piece of breaking news. But I'm going to go with Kyle Trask. Sorry, Brady.
I was going to say Kyle Trask. I was going to say Kyle Trask as well. But I'll go a guy, he had some hype, but I'm going to go Sam Howell, North Carolina. We saw him have great potential as a freshman last year, and with a great recruiting class North Carolina has coming in, I think Howell will do a really good job with the UNC squad.
Jackson wants to know, would an undefeated BYU get into the playoff over a one-loss ACC or Pac-12 champion?
It depends who's on that schedule.
I think this depends on who's on their schedule.
So, if we're talking about in general, I would say no. I'm pulling up their current schedule. Obviously, I know that ASU's on that schedule for this, or they would have been on for this upcoming season. But they've got a decent schedule. Stanford, SDSU, Boise State, Houston, Mizzou, Minnesota, ASU, Michigan State, and Utah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that if they would go undefeated this year and not like a scraping by like Marshall did a couple years ago, where Marshall almost went undefeated, but are clearly a good team and are beating up on all these teams, then absolutely, I think they would get in.
Yeah. I mean, I even think with that schedule, you'd probably have to go undefeated. It's just so hard when you're a team like BYU and you're independent, and even with a team like Michigan State, because I think unless they really pick themselves up from the way they have the last couple of years, because you're going to need some ranked wins, and you're probably going to need some good ranked wins if you're BYU. So I'll say no. Although, I mean, if they're dismantling teams and winning by 2-3 touchdowns every week, then it's possible.
Jumping back to the last question, Eli Larson in the comments brings up, what about Michael Penix Jr. at IU?
Oh boy,
a great quarterback. He's an athlete. He's good.
He's decent. I'll give him that.
He's an athlete. He got hurt at the end of last year. Peyton Ramsey took over. So I enjoy watching.
Ramsey's
Penix
at
there.
Northwestern now.
Ramsey
right?
went to Northwestern. Yeah. But for BYU, I mean, so many things have to go wrong for BYU to make it into the national championship or even the playoff consideration. So you just need a detrimental collapse of the ACC and the Big Ten for BYU to even get a look, which is a shame because they produce good teams and you hate to see it, but that is what it is.
Yeah, they'll be in. Wow, this question's for you, Mr. Johnny D. Sunscreen or bug spray?
Ooh.
Oh, sunscreen. Look, you recover from bug bites. Sunscreen, I mean, you don't put on sunscreen, bad things can happen.
Skin cancer, man, it's a killer.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
But it is worth pointing out that you can recover from a slight sunburn, though.
You can, but if you just never put on sunscreen, it's not looking good.
Yeah, it's not good.
Every time you go outside.
Brady, do you like this comment right here?
Yeah, I got the helmet right here, man. Undefeated.
Does Sam Ehlinger come out of nowhere and becomes a finalist for the Heisman? Maybe
I will say this. I'm currently playing NCAA 14 in a career mode with live rosters. And Sam Howell at week 6 in the season is one of the top 5 finalists for the Heisman. So take with that as you will.
Sam Howell or Sam Ehlinger?
Sam Ehlinger.
Okay. As long as it's not Shane Buechele.
It's not. It's Sam Ehlinger.
Hey, man, look out for Shane Buechele this year. He's coming for the Heisman.
With just a bunch of little running backs.
If Shane Buechele wins the Heisman. Wow.
We get to shave Blake's head.
No.
The guy went from being, third on your list and not playing a snap to winning the Heisman at SMU. A team that once had the death penalty. That would be something.
Yes. There you go.
Anyway, the question.
I was going to say, with Ehlinger, I mean, look, Joe Burrow kind of burst onto the national stage week 2 last year after he beat LSU. I mean, Texas and LSU aren't going to play this year. I was going to say that was going to be Ehlinger's big chance. But the thing with the Heisman is you have to start hot and you have to maintain the consistency all year. So if he has a couple big games to start out, yes.
You said Joe Burrow beat LSU?
Joe Burrow beat Texas. Sorry.
There you go.
It happens.
I could see this happening. I mean, I don't know if he'll be necessarily a finalist. I don't even know if he is a finalist. I don't even know if I would say that he comes out of nowhere because I think he's going to be good this year. Is he a top 5 quarterback in college football going in? Probably not, but I think he's definitely pushing top 10. So I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I think Ehlinger, I think he has a chance to come out and win the Heisman. He's really slept on. And Texas, maybe they'll be back this year. Guys, time for one more question. And this is actually a pretty good one. I like this one a lot. Simple but great. Burger or hot dog?
Easy.
Burger.
Easy.
Yep.
I don't know. I feel like I like eating a hot dog better, but a burger is more filling, I guess. So I guess if I'm really trying to get filled up, a burger.
Have you ever had a burger dog, Lyle?
I have not. What even is that?
It's a burger.
It's a burger dog. It's hamburger meat like rolled into a hot dog.
Huh.
So you get both. Burger all the way. Cheese, bacon, all the way.
Yes.
Oh, it's too easy.
Yes.
Too easy.
Yeah,
you can tell.
There's so much you can do with a burger, but like I do like having a hot dog. It depends on like the situation.
Glizzy.
You know, it's just like I like going to a restaurant. Like I said, a burger's more filling. But if I'm like at a Dodgers game eating a Dodger dog, that's that's what makes me the happiest.
There are exceptions to everything, though.
I'm not getting a burger at a game. Like
it's like, oh, I'm gonna go to Coney Island. I'm gonna order a burger. No, you order a hot dog.
All right, so that was a good question. We actually have two more quick ones to get to because the chat's been going too quickly. And Michael Collins, great question, but there was some I missed. The first one, and this is from Dr. G. He actually sent us $2 via super chat, so thank you, Dr. G. Dak Prescott, you're soon to be overpaid quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. How do you guys think Mississippi State does this year? Well, they got a brand new head coach. They got a brand new quarterback. The only problem is they're like the 6th or 7th best team in their conference. It's the only problem. If Mississippi State was in the Big 12, that would be a lot of fun this year. I'll say that.
Yeah, I agree. They're just not going to compete in the SEC. They'll be like, they'll be good. Maybe they'll be like what Texas A&M was last year, where they had that just insane schedule, and like they were a good team, but like they just were not going to compete moving forward with teams like Bama and.
Yeah, totally agree, Josh.
Yeah, Josh, your connection went out. Sorry.
Oh no,
it's okay.
You're good now.
But,
I'm 7-5. Also, Dr. G, I don't think Dak will be overpaid. I don't think he is overpaid. But yeah, I say Mississippi State's 7-5. I mean, they're good. They're just going to need some time to kind of have their developmental stages, I guess, just because, like Blake said, they're not one of the top 2 to 3 teams in their conference.
Yeah, they'll get back to some winning ways, but not back to their usual winning ways. So, 7-8 wins will be, I'd say, a successful season for Mississippi State.
They'll pull off an upset against some team that's like ranked in the top 15, and then they're just going to follow that up with losing to a team they shouldn't have lost to. But we're going to get a lot of good Mike Leach quotes, so at least we got that going for him. But again, Dr. G, you're a G. Thanks so much. But yeah, in our group chat, they were telling me to get to this one question because I completely missed it. I didn't see it because again, the comments were going too quickly. So as always, short round with the great question, guys. Wrapping this up, what is a TV/movie character you just want to jump through the screen and punch in the face?
Blake, every time we do this show.
Oh, thanks, guys. Hey, with all these donations now, guys, you don't have to worry about not getting paid anymore. The money is going to a good cause. So we're going to take the $2 from Dr. G, and we're going to all split it 50 cents away, and there you go. So everyone's happy now.
Great.
This is a good question.
I don't know if you guys have seen John Mulaney's stand-up segment about Back to the Future, but it's got a terrible – like that movie has a terrible premise. It's just awful. Great movie, but trying to –
Terrible plot.
Terrible plot. But Biff Tannen, movie number 1, I want to punch him in the face. Movie number 2, I want to punch Biff Tannen in the face. And movie number 3, which was a very weird movie, I wanted to punch him in the face again. So Biff Tannen from Back to the Future.
Okay, so I've got a serious one and I've got a funny one. Serious one, and this goes for TV. I'd say it's Ramsay Bolton for anybody that watched Game of Thrones. Like, I've never hated a character before. I really hated that guy watching that show. So that's one. The funny one, it's Shooter McGavin for a movie.
No.
I get so tired of listening to Shooter McGavin all throughout Happy Gilmore. Oh, when he finally gets beat up by that mob of fans at the end, that's the resolution right there. Movie ends a minute and a half later. Plot resolved.
That's great. TV, for me, it's not a character. It's a person from a commercial.
Oh, no.
And it was when Apple came out with like the new iPad Pro that has the keyboard on it. And it's this kid like running through the street, like taking all these photos, and they're sitting in their backyard and the neighbor walks out like, what did you do on your computer? And they're like, what's a computer? I want to punch that kid in the face so badly. Like, it actually burns my core how infuriating that commercial makes me. Like, it is, I can't even think I can't even say it. It's Blake, so bad. It's
Blake,
it's
there's this commercial that they air in LA, and it's like for like a car dealership, and it's very clearly the owner of the dealership, and he like dresses like a king, and he's got like his wife and like his sons in the commercial too. Like, I can't like say the brand or whatever, but because I don't really remember. Like, if you had said it, I would know, but I'm not gonna say it. But like, it is it is very clearly like made on their computer at home on like Final Cut Pro 2003, and then they like put it out there, and he's like dancing in front of the cars like.
Well, Josh, I'll tell you one.
It's a terrible green screen video.
Living in LA, I don't, if there are people watching right now or listening that live in LA, they'll probably agree. Jacob and Ronnie. That guy is the worst. He has these he's like a lawyer. I think he's a lawyer, right? I think Josh, he's like a lawyer.
He's like one of the official lawyers for the Lakers. I don't know if like they actually use him, but they've got the little Lakers logo in the corner for his commercials.
It's like these awful commercials, like these awful acting where it's like, I've just been hit by another car. What am I going to do? And it's just him with his slick back hair, his cheap suit. Hi, I'm Jacob Amrani, and I want to represent you. Call my firm today because
commercials are so bad. Like, I know it's a cartoon, but like, I want to punch the little general dude.
Josh, you know who's a great one out here? I don't want to punch this guy in the face. I want to be friends with the guy. That one law firm where it's a 1-800-NO-CUFFS, where like we'll keep you out of cuffs unless you're into that kind of thing.
Unless you're into that kind of stuff. That's a great.
Dude, what about the Jack in the Box mascot guy?
Oh, Jack?
Jack?
Yeah, he's great. I wouldn't.
I thought you were going to say
no. Now we're just talking about great TV commercial characters.
Oh boy! To answer this question, what TV movie character you just want to jump through the screen and punch in the face? I don't want to punch anyone in the face, but what I want to do is I want to jump in and get in on that Anchorman fight from the first Anchorman movie, and I want to get in on that and throw hands.
All right, bro. Like if you're like Brick Tamlin, you randomly spawn a weapon. What are you spawning for that fight?
Ooh.
Trident.
Is that a grenade?
I think it has to be the Trident because that just came out of nowhere. It has to be nowhere. But short round,
and then you walk off riding a bear at the end.
Short round always with the great questions. I don't even know why this is down here, but guys, that does wrap up this fun jam-packed long hour-and-a-half edition of the Harris Highlight Show. Again, make sure you guys go follow the show on Twitter at the HHShow_. Keep up to date with us over there. That way, if there's anything we have to tweet out, anything newsworthy with the show, we post fun tweets. We've been doing a lot of that over the last few weeks. Make sure to go follow over there. It's a lot of fun. Brady's showing his violent side.
Hey, Short Round, you caused it, Short Round. I blame you for that.
You guys can listen to the show on Spotify and Apple Podcast. The link to that is in the description below, or you can go to Apple, Spotify, search the Harris Highlight Show, find us there. As always, in future shows, as you've seen, you guys can donate via the Super Chat. You guys, it's a way to ask us questions, again, just to help us out. A whole lot of fun. It really helps out the show. Or you can become a Patreon member for little as $1 a month. There's 3 tiers. We've had some people join. We'll get them on the show. If you want to be on a future show with us for a segment, or have a Q&A with us, or just have a Zoom call with us, or potentially win some merchandise, anything like that, the link is in the description of this video, or you can go to patreon.com/The Harris Highlight Show. Lots of awesome benefits. Again, thank you to Joshua Griffin and Stefan Weiss. You guys donated this past week. You guys are awesome. Guys, before we leave, any parting words?
Yeah, dude, tomorrow's Josh's birthday, so happy birthday, Josh.
Oh, how do you like that?
I'm not actually 16.
You're actually 25. You're older than Blake.
Yep. That's me.
Breaking
everyone tomorrow, make sure to go to Josh's Twitter or Instagram and make sure you wish him a happy birthday. But guys, for Josh Schaefer, the soon-to-be birthday boy, Lyle Goldstein, Brady Klain, this has been Blake Harris
Big
from
Trust.
Big Trust.
Big Trust.
Thank you to Michael Pierce for joining us on the show. That was a lot of fun. We'll be back here again next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment of your favorite moment from the show. And as always, we're going to see you guys right back here again next week.